everybody, welcome to Percussion Axiom TV. I am your host Tom Burritt, and this is episode 59. I've finally recovered, I think, from the difficult loss to Bama in the national championship game, the BCS game. But congrats to Bama, they played great, and I feel terrible for Colt McCoy. I think we would have given them, I think we would have won the game. But anyway, congrats to Bama. But more importantly today, we want to give a nice, some thoughts and prayers to those in Haiti who are going through just a horrible tragedy with the earthquake, of course, which is way more important than any football game can be. So our prayers and thoughts go out to them today. Getting ready for some big things this spring. I'm playing the Michael Dougherty UFO Percussion Concerto on February 20th up in Wichita Falls, Texas, with an orchestra up there. And I'm really super excited about this. I've played the piece several times with wind band, but never with orchestra, so I'm really pretty psyched up about it. So I am feverishly trying to get back into the practice mode, and you know, I've gotten some really interesting questions and thoughts from you guys about some topics of shows. And one of those I keep getting is, can you talk a little bit about practice and what that looks like, what good practice looks like? And it's a really good topic for something like this, and that's where I am. I'm right in the throes of trying to get this back in my hands, so I thought, what the heck, this show really, for me, is just sort of an extension of what I've been doing every day. So I was just sitting here practicing and thought, what the heck, let's just shoot what I've been doing here, because, yeah, it fits what you guys are sort of requesting for show topics. So, anyway, Michael Dougherty UFO Percussion Concerto, if you're not familiar with it, is one of those that we've gotten from Evelyn Glennie. It's a real fun piece. It's very difficult. In the second movement, Unidentified, is a xylophone solo with some hanging metal stuff. So I'm just learning it here at home because I have a marimba at my house. I don't have the xylophone here, but it's just sort of getting it back in my hands because I've played this before. In the second movement, 20th century work, right? So we've got some interesting harmonic and pitch set stuff going on. And when I try to practice something like this, almost pretty much anything actually, is that, you know, I try to decompose. I know it sounds cheesy, right? To decompose a work, or to uncompose if you prefer. But if I can get inside the composer's head a little bit, that really helps me kind of learn the piece faster. It helps me not have as many memory slips, because I'm not thinking about one note at a time. I'm thinking about patterns. All right, and so there's some really good examples in this movement of that exact thing. So right at the very, very beginning of the second movement, we have a 5-pitch set. All right, that's a half step, whole step, half, half, whole. So it's almost octatonic, which is the alternation of half and whole, but not quite. And this pitch set happens at 6 or 7, I haven't counted them, maybe 8 different pitch levels, meaning it starts on different notes, but it's the same exact, it's a direct transposition of the exact same pitch set by interval. So if you're learning this for the first time, what I did when I first learned it, and what I'm doing right now to review, is I'm just going over what those 5 pitches look like at each of those beginning notes. So the first one, it goes from C sharp to A sharp to F sharp to G to D sharp. Each of these pitch sets starts on each of those notes. And if we look at that pattern, we've got sixths going down. Eventually it goes down even further to here. So I've got to learn this pitch set on E, C sharp, A sharp, A, C sharp, F sharp, G, D sharp, all these different levels. Okay. So that's what I'll do at first. Is I'll just learn it on C sharp and repeat it over and over. I'll repeat it over and over and over until it just gets in my hand. So all I have to do is look at C sharp. If I see C sharp, my left hand goes C sharp, and boom, I just play the notes. Then the next one is A. Then A sharp. I also noticed that the right hand by itself forms a diminished triad. That helps me remember too. Then the next one would be, let's see, where F sharp, then G, and D sharp. And then eventually E and G. So the first part of this, once I've got that figured out, I'm just thinking C, and I'm thinking A sharp, F sharp, G, D sharp. So here's the opening. A. 'Pattern starts on G this time. E, C, D, F, G, D, 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 first whole page of the second movement I've identified. So I figure out what the pitch set is, practice it at each level, then all I have to think about is C, A sharp, F sharp, G, E. Figure out what the pattern is after that. So that's one way that I practice. Other examples of patterns in music. A little bit later on, there's a bunch of octaves, crazy octaves going on here. And it happens at J in one key, and then it happens at, let's see, what's the letter? Happens at N in another key, which is basically just a half step down. So this is based on some tritones and some stacked fourths. Let's see. So that's the first one. Happens later at N, exactly a half step lower. Okay, so that helps me because I know what the intervals are, and helps me separate between the two as well, since they are only a half step. Another thing that's interesting here, that I've talked about on the show many, many times, is the concept of blocking. Okay, I'm blocking these notes. So it's actually written as octaves that way, but I'm blocking them out at first. Alright? So that's another way of doing it. Okay, so block what's there, and then figure out what the pattern is. If it comes back later, is it the same pitch level or a different pitch level, and what pitch level difference is it? And then you know what notes you should be able to play and what notes you're not supposed to be playing. I hope that makes sense to you guys. I wrote a lot about this in my dissertation, which is available at thomasburritt.com if you click on free stuff. If you want to learn more about this and how it applies to other pieces. And that's important, guys. You know, this doesn't just apply to this particular piece. You can do this with pretty much any piece. And this is actually a problem I have with some pieces that maybe don't stick to such good compositional control. It's hard for me to remember them because this is the only way I know how to do it. I have to figure out what the composer's up to, and then that helps me remember. Helps me with memory slips. Helps me think about less specific things and more general things, which I think allows me benefits of phrasing better and musicality and all that stuff. So anyway, this is a huge topic, you guys. We can possibly cover it in the 10 minutes that I usually use for this show. But I hope that gives you some ideas of sort of some of the things I do in the practice room. Of course, you have to have some musical training for this. But why the heck do you take music theory anyway? Right? I know it's a ridiculous idea to try to take what you use in your theory class and use it in your playing. But it shouldn't be a ridiculous idea, right? That's why you learn it, right? So I think if you explore this, I think you'll find it very helpful. So enough of me, and with this, I want to hear what you guys think. You know, we've created a community here. One of the big goals of the community that we've got with PATV is to hear what you guys are up to, how you guys would practice. I want to hear some really good ideas. Now that we have this technology to communicate like this in a meaningful way where we can learn from each other, I'm really, really, truly, honestly, I really mean this, you guys, interested in what you have to say about this and how you practice. So that, of course, is the question of the day. How do you practice? How do you go about learning notes? How do you go about memorizing notes, maybe? Yeah, I will really, really want to know. And lurkers, this is a great time for you to come out because we know that you've got lots to contribute as well. So that's it for today's show. Thank you so much, you guys, and we'll see you for episode 60.